Hey, welcome to my 30-day sketchbook challenge. We're going to see if I can improve my sketchbook and YouTube skills in 30 days. So today's vibe is purple and yellow. I'm going with the complementary color theme again here, but it did not go exactly as planned. Like, I thought I was being so clever, but it doesn't always translate, apparently. Something about this palette makes her look a bit sickly. Still, she cute though. So cute, in fact, I've decided to add her to my ever-expanding Stellar Elite band of sexy sci-fi babes. I mentioned in my world-building Draw With Me episode that Vair is a bit of a hooligan and ran with a gang back on Sata. This was before her parents strongly suggested she find an outlet for her silliness in the fleet. However, I've been wanting to create some of her gang of sillies for funsies, and I think this girl just needs to be part of that crew. Her hair will not be this insanely lemon yellow. I'll most likely make it more Beyonce honey blonde, I think. And it will be super cute and fun with this hairstyle. I found it on Pinterest, by the way. Literally, as I'm writing out my talking points for this video, I was like, I don't have a name for her. Then I decided, let's consult our names spreadsheet and see if something jumps out. So her name is totally going to be Goldie, which is adorable. I just got so excited. New Stellar baby, yay! Anyway, let's move on to the art stuff. So this sketchbook is the one I was gushing about in my last video. It is an absolute joy to work in compared to the Strathmore mixed media. Even watching back these videos, I can see how much easier the paint flows and lifts on the paper compared to the Strathmore. As I said in my last video, this is a sketchbook my local art store sells, so shout out to Above Ground. It is also mixed media, but when you feel the pages, it is very obviously like proper cold pressed watercolor paper. It's £150 and 9x12, which I love. I don't know why, but I prefer a big sketchbook to the little teeny pocket ones or moleskins, even though I still totally can't resist buying moleskins. So quick paint sidebar. For the skin, I'm using Winsor & Newton Cobalt Blue Hue. And I can't remember if it's Daniel Smith Quinacridone Rose or Winsor & Newton Permanent Rose. I'm sorry. Lastly, I used the Holbein Lavender, which is an absolute banger, and I totally want to try more Holbein just because of this color. It's beautiful. For the hair, I just mashed up Daniel Smith Hansa Yellow Light and New Gamboge. Those come with the Watercolour Beginner Essentials set. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it on the screen. I am loving my new palette, by the way. I can understand why people love Daniel Smith. The colors are very vibrant and lovely. This is why I want to try Core. I've heard they're very strong, which I like, at least for now. I tend to change my mind about things very quickly with watercolor painting. I'm having a lot of fun just seeing my palette get stained and dirty. This may sound odd, but I would always dabble with this in the past, but not get very far beyond the swatching stage. I notice this is a big thing with people who try to get into painting. I've seen it mentioned in a lot of videos. I think for me, the difference is really just years and years of drawing since I kind of dropped the traditional media. And honestly, a mindset change that I took on more so this year than ever before, where I set out to get over a lot of art hurdles and reach some goals. The main mindset change is basically if you don't succeed the first time, just scrap it and doggedly obsess until you get it right. In other words, this applies more to traditional media, but if you fail, just scrap it and start again. It's not the end of the world. I would get so hung up when doing Inktober or trying to do any kind of painting where I was so scared to make a mark with the paint because I didn't want to ruin it. But quite honestly, just do it again. This is how you get the mileage. And it really doesn't take that long to redraw things. The more mileage you get, the stronger your skills become, and you learn quicker, I think, when you just have to redo things over and over, because redoing kind of sucks and you don't like doing it, so you make a point to remember the mistake and not do it again. This is what I think anyway. Like I showed in my last video, just how many times I've tried to paint Vair and they all sucked. However, I haven't tried her since I found the tutorial I mentioned in my last video. I don't know how to say this person's account. It's Mmmmonexx, I think. I'm going to put it on the screen again. Anyway, their tutorials are absolutely spectacular and I highly recommend them. They give you sort of a step-by-step way of doing watercolor portraits. Normally, I'm not into step-by-step, do this, do that type tutorials, but when you're doing a medium that requires so much planning ahead of time, this is extremely useful. Go check out their tutorials, you will not be disappointed. So since I've watched their videos, I've done 2 portrait attempts and I'm pretty happy with the results. There is one glaring thing that I noticed that I need to work on. It's really odd, and I don't know if anyone else has this problem, but I tend to skew the features of the face when painting. Like the first portrait I did, that was a nice one that I wanted to show. I did the face and it was great. The first pass of paint looked great, and then as I added detail and more layers, the mouth just started skewing to the right, so by the end it was totally crooked, and I didn't notice this until it was too late. Very irritating. The next portrait, it was the eyes. Like it was a 3/4 portrait, and then the right eye just looks like it's more to the right and a bit up than it did in the sketch. Anyway, it's a good thing I've made a point at least to take a picture of these sketches before quote-unquote ruining them in the painting phase. This way I can at least mess around with them digitally later if I feel like it. So I'll just dip into a little bit of time-lapse for about 1 minute before we dip out. If you're liking watching me bumble through learning watercolors, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to follow along and tune in, maybe consider subscribing. And if you want to draw along, please do, and let me know in the comments if you have any art supply tips or anything like that. And I will see you in the next one tomorrow. Bye! Okay, I keep doing this, but there's one other thing I forgot to mention. I'm using these shimmery iridescent paints that are so cool. I remember when I first started watercoloring, these were like the shit and everybody was obsessed with them. They're called Fine Tech, and I have this like gold, silver, bronzy palette, but I totally the other day just found another palette with smaller pans that is just like rainbow color. I love these things. So basically every video you are going to see me using these until I get sick of them, which is going to be never. Okay, bye again.